Hi everyone, Swati here. So we will be discussing reading number 44, an introduction to multi-factor models. So here it's divided, I have divided this part into 5 sections. So let's go through introduction first, wherein the curriculum has discussed about modern portfolio theory. So it actually gives you a framework in context of portfolio, which means like how one asset returns or asset risk has impact on the overall portfolio. So it's basically in context of the portfolio. So second part, in introduction, the curriculum has discussed about the CAPM model, where as everyone knows about the formula of CAPM, that is a risk-free rate plus beta plus market risk minus risk-free. So it's a single factor model where which gives you information about the market risk. And it has also given you introduction about multi-factor model, wherein there are several factors in this, wherein in CAPM there's only one factor about the market risk, wherein in multi-factor model there are many factors, more than one. And it also talks about the curriculum also tells you about systematic risk, which is non-diversified risk and which is also called as price risk. And it also talks about unsystematic risk, that is diversified risk. So it tells you that the asset specific risk can be diversified. So the unsystematic risk can be diversified completely through the proper asset allocation. So that's all about introduction. The second part here is about arbitrage pricing theory, that is APT module. So it is also a part of LOS. And first thing, it tells you about the assumptions. So there are basically three assumptions in APT model. The first assumption is it should that the factor, whatever the factor the equation has, it describes the asset returns, like in CAPM model, like we have also calculated that in CFA level 1, wherein we used to calculate the expected return based on the CAPM model formula. So this here in APT, it's like the factor should describe the asset returns. The second assumption is that investor can eliminate specific risk, and the third assumption is there shouldn't be any arbitrage opportunity in a well diversified portfolio. So that is all about assumptions. And they have also given equation about the APT model. It's a simple equation wherein there are multiple factors, which is given the in lambda, and also the risk-free rate is also added. And after these assumptions, they have given information about they have actually given two examples for where they have explained how to calculate arbitrage opportunity. Recommend you to go through the curriculum and see the example 1 and 2 for this calculation, so that you can understand the calculation part of arbitrage opportunity. So basically the calculation only tells you about how to buy low and sell high, wherever there is arbitrage opportunity that exists. So that is about the second thing. And the third thing is it also gives you explanation about how different the arbitrage pricing theory is than CAPM. Like it's an alternative to CAPM. Unlike CAPM, it doesn't indicate any number or identity of risk factors. And this is it's an expected return of an asset or a portfolio in equilibrium as a linear function of the risk of an asset or a portfolio with respect to the set of factors capturing systematic risk. That means this particular thing, the arbitrage pricing theory model tells you that the returns are directly proportional to the risk. So the more you take the risk, the more the returns you can generate. That's what it is. So that's what the assumption is all about, and the arbitrage pricing theory is all about. So the curriculum discusses about the multi-factor module in detail over here. and it tells you about the types of multi-factor module. First thing is it describes about Carthat four-factor module, which is an extension of FAMA and French model. All right, and the information about FAMA and French model is given in more detail in equity part, so we are not going to discuss that here. So it only tells you about the factors that are in this Carthat four-factor model. So there are four factor basically which is given in this equation. It tells you about RM minus RF, that is return minus the risk-free return, S minus B, that means small cap stocks minus the large cap big stocks, that is large cap stocks, and it all and high minus low, that is high book value stocks minus low book value stocks, winners minus losers. It is basically the momentum indicator, the rising stocks. Basically the winners are those who which are rising stocks. And you can go through the curriculum to check more details about this. And the second thing is so the second thing over here they have discussed is about the other macroeconomic factor model, fundamental factor model, and statistical factor model. So the macroeconomic is by name itself suggests you that it deals with the factors which are macroeconomic in nature, which are all macroeconomic variables like inflation and GDP. So it actually represents the surprises in macroeconomic variables. Let's take an example of inflation. If the expected inflation is, let's say, 6%, but the actual inflation that is of 5%, so we get a 1% surprise in this type of model. So that surprise is an indication of return, like it depends on how it's related to the return, expected return. So that is the surprises. And the second thing, it also tells you about the sensitivity of stock return to the surprise in macroeconomic variable. And it also tells you about the like how you calculate this kind of how you do the regression. First you take all the surprise series and then you run a regression through to calculate this macroeconomic factor model. The second thing is fundamental factor model, which is basically the factor is stated as returns over here, as compared to macroeconomic model wherein they have stated the factor as a surprises. So here the factor is stated as returns are the factors over here. So the factor sensitivities are attributes of securities. So it is stock specific. And asset sensitivity to the factor is expressed using standardized beta. So they are expressed in standardized beta. So basically, they have given a formula of standardized beta over here. You can just go through this, and based on this, they have divided this section into three parts. Basically, company fundamental factors, company share related factors, and macroeconomic factors. So it's not the macroeconomic factor of macroeconomic factor model is different. It's related to company macroeconomic factor. And in case of regression, they have just given information that generally they specify the factor sensitivity attributes first and then estimate the factor returns through regression. Now the third part is statistical factor model. They have not given much detail about it, but they have given two types of statistical factors, which is factor analysis model, which is actually calculates the historical return covariances, and its principal component model, which calculates historical return variance. All right, it explains historical return, so it considers historical factor rather than other factors. The advantages is that it has minimum assumption, and disadvantages is that the statistical factors are very difficult to interpret. All right, so the second uh, all right, the second section over here is multi-factor models and its application. So it's divided into three parts. One, like how uh, factors are contributing to portfolio return or portfolio risk or portfolio construct in a whole. So the first part is what are factor modules in return attribution, wherein it explains you like how the return is calculated basically in overall constructing the portfolio. So mostly it considers active managers that generate active return. What is active return? Here the active return is return on portfolio minus the return on benchmark. So whatever the alpha, that is the active return that the manager generates, it's called active. It's actually the skills of manager that they contribute to this active return. So how to consider, like if the active return is because of management skills, or is it because of factor, or it is because of asset selection. So they have given some formula over here, so you can go through this formula when you get this sheet. And basically active returns are calculated based, there are two components over here. One is factor tilt and second is return of from asset selection. So let's say if you have selected one particular asset in your portfolio which has given you a tremendous returns, like uh, 20%, 30%, and other assets has have hardly given any returns like 2 or 3%. In this particular asset, selection was done by the manager. So so you can say that this manager is good in stock picking, and because of this, the active return is mostly contributed by return from that specific asset selection. The second thing is factor tilt. Factor tilt is basically there are various factor sensitivities. For example, the industry specific factor or business cycle factor, inflation factor, interest rate factor. So which factor has actually contributed to returns? For example, if the business cycle is good, if it's improving, then that will have a more contribution to the returns than any other factor. So that is another thing that that's been considered in active returns. And the third and the third thing is managers. So that's what by calculating this active returns, it we can tell that if the manager is good in picking stock, or if manager is good in doing the factor tilting. All right, so that is the first thing. Now this talks, or this tells you all about return attribution. Now let's go to the risk attribution. In this like how you calculated active return in the same manner or little different manner, we calculate active risk. So active risk, tracking error, and tracking risk all are one and the same thing. So it's basically standard deviation. It's standard deviation of active returns, like uh, how the active return fluctuates over a period of time, that is being calculated by active risk. All right, so they have also given a formula, you can go through this. And there is another part to calculate active risk is active risk squared, and the formula is given here. And it is basically divided into two parts: active factor risk and active specific risk, that is security selection risk. Like how the active return has two components, factor tilt and return. In the same manner, active risk has two component, active factor and security selection risk. All right, so it can be calculated based on the formula given over here. And the last part is how the factor models in portfolio selection. So how it can be used. So it will obviously help the asset manager to have focused bets and give and also to manage the portfolio passively or actively or rules based is basically maybe he wants to introduce only pharma stock in the COVID pandemic situation in his portfolio uh, uh, rather than having auto stocks which are cyclical in nature. So that kind of rules he can implement in his portfolio using this factor module. It is easier for him to make asset allocation in the portfolio. So that is all about this multi-factor module. And the last part is strategic portfolio decisions. Here again, they have given two example. The allocation strategic portfolio decision is based on basically two questions, like what types of risk do I have comparative advantage in bearing. Let's say if I am taking a risk of 30%, but am I getting that much of returns if I take that much of risk? Or what type of risk am I at competitive disadvantage in bearing? For example, I am taking 30% risk, but I am not getting that much of returns. So that's all about this reading. Thank you so much for watching. And in case if you need this mind map, you can just send me your email address. You can just post your email address in the comments. Thank you.